Hello. Just give us 1 minute while we admit more people in. Feel free to go ahead and mute yourself.
I'll just click at the bottom there.
This one?
What does it say?
Got it. Leaving meeting,
Got it.
what she said.
Welcome, everyone.
Well, there's Jennifer. There's my name, but not me. That's Helen. Why is my picture?
You've
Why
got
is
to turn on your video, Mrs. McNeil. It'll be down at the bottom.
If you guys are on a desktop or laptop, on the lower left corner, you will see a little microphone and a little video camera. And for the video camera, you click on it, you can turn yourself onto the screen, and to mute yourself or to speak, you can use the little microphone.
There I am. There I am.
There you are.
There I am.
Helen.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
There's Mom.
I see Dee Britt.
Hi, Melanie.
Quill Hawk Publisher,
Hello.
author. This is exciting.
It's got me under Jennifer Helen, but that's because the computer's under Jennifer Helen. So
Mine just says Helen. Where are you, Rosie?
mine says Jennifer Helen. Wait till Jennifer gets on. Then you'll have two of us, Jennifer Helen.
Hello, Jen and Aunt Rosemary. Hi, Melanie.
Well, hi. How are
Freddie.
you, Fred?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Wonderful. Very good.
Good.
I got to sit up higher or something here.
Yeah, we only see the top of your head.
I know. And I'm trying to figure.
We
There
can
we
see
go.
you
That's
before.
better. That's better.
There
Where's
you
Dan?
are. What happened to the sweatshirt, Rosemary?
Oh, the sweatshirt's gone. Dan's on, I believe, but I don't know. Yeah, he's seeing everybody else, but nobody's seeing him.
This
Turn
is so
it-
awesome. We're getting the party started even before we start. But let's try to mute our microphones so Amy can get this started and we can start because this is actually getting recorded and it will be put on YouTube for people to share with others later as well. So I'm gonna mute myself and hand it over to Amy.
All right. Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to spend the next 90 minutes with us. First of all, who's got some rum or some tea? Show it to me. Anybody? All right. Shirley's got some, is it British tea?
We have
Okay.
It is tea, it is Earl Grey. Yeah.
We'll get this party started. I'm going to introduce our host, Shirley Wang. Shirley is an award-winning operatic soprano, pianist, conductor, international best-selling author, entrepreneur, host, expert instructor, illustrator, and children's Chinese curriculum creator. She performed across the U.S., including the Carnegie Hall in 2020, including the Carnegie Hall. In 2020, she started an interview series all around classical, featuring performing artists, composers, writers, dancers, actors, directors, and others who make the world more colorful. It is rapidly gaining viewership and critical acclaim. You can find it on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and as a podcast on all major podcast distribution platforms. It is rapidly gaining viewership and critical acclaim. In addition, she founded Simple Gifts Music Studio, which offers online voice, piano, music theory, performance technique, and diction programs. Yay, Shirley. Thank you so much for being here and for hosting our event tonight. And me, I am Amy M. Lee. I am the author of the Snow Trilogy based on my family's escape from Vietnam after the fall of Saigon. I also own Quill Hawk Publishing, and it's an Asian American women-owned publishing company. And what we do is we help emerging writers indie publish their work, and it's more through a consultative approach. The authors actually retain all their rights and royalties, and our mission is to amplify diverse voices and through storytelling. So that's a little bit about Quill Hawk Publishing. And with that, I'm going to give it away to Shirley to do further intros.
Well, we're going to talk about today's true stars, which we have two. We have the author, we have Melanie Barton-Gauss. We also have the book itself. And Melanie Barton-Gauss grew up in a very adventurous family, which we have some of the family members with us today, and who love to sail the Finger Lakes and Lake Ontario in upstate New York. She studied English and vocal music at the undergraduate level and writing and rhetoric at the graduate level. She was a teacher for many, many years for English and music in several states, but the longest tenure was in the state of Florida. Her understanding of history is through the arts and travel. So this is a living, really alive thing for her, particularly with music and literature. She's also a documentary and nonfiction addict. Melanie lives with her husband, Jim, who's here, hello, and her two dogs, actually one dog now, but we're going to mention both of them because they both were important during her creative process for this novel, Max and Sam. And while she is now, when she's not writing, she loves to travel, paddleboard, and go to concerts. And now let's talk about the book. The book itself is actually set in the year of 1776. Daniel Barton's trading business is ruined by the war with the British and their blockade of his hometown, New York City. Nearly broke, he finds himself deemed unacceptable by the parents of the love of his life, Rose Post. When General Benedict Arnold offers a chance at payment and a letter of marque if he'll help defend Lake Champlain against a British incursion, Daniel decides to take a chance and becomes a privateer. He'll raid the British ships for the cause of freedom and for love. So those are the introductions for the stars of today, which is Melanie and the book. And Melanie, let's start by taking a look at what inspires the book, some of the visual aspects of how things looked. Would you like to do that?
Sure.
And so I will share the screen. And Amy, could you make me a host so I could share the screen? Perfect. Let me try one more time. Yes. And we shall take a look at some of the things Melanie chooses to share with us that has been her inspiration.
This is the Pride of Baltimore, which is a schooner. And we used this as the schooner on the cover. And this is what I would imagine a colonial schooner would have looked like, or at least it would have been similar to this. Most of the colonials would have sailed schooners, from what I understand.
And now let's take a look at the next part. Here.
And this should be the HMS Surprise, which would be a frigate. And frigates were, you'll see, the frigates are the bane of Daniel's existence.
Now, who is Daniel? Let's take a look at the real life inspiration for Daniel.
And Daniel is my dad,
Aw.
Daniel Barton. And this is his Coast Guard picture.
Wow. And what about the love of Daniel's life? Let's take a look.
And that's the real Rose.
Aw.
That's Mom, who is the real Rose.
Look at those legs, Mom.
I know, right? Woohoo.
Woo!
Yes. And how about
and
this?
This is a picture of the Victory, which was a very famous ship of the line. And these were the heavy warships, 3 decks of guns. They could carry
Wow.
over 100 guns. Daniel didn't want to run into one of these when he was raiding British ships. Of course.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah. Of course, the colonial schooners were faster, and that was pretty much their saving grace. These guys were deadly, but they were kind of slow, and they drew a lot more water.
And now let's take a look and see what happens. What's the culmination? Ta-da, the other star of today.
Beautiful.
Melanie?
So this is a frigate, and this is a a better picture than the one that I had earlier. But this is really the HMS Surprise firing on a schooner, which we use the Pride of Baltimore for. And you'll see why when you read the story. I chose a frigate and a schooner.
And you can really see there is such feeling of what's really happening in the book just from looking at this cover. And of course, you know, let's not forget to show something that's really important, briefly, but very important, which is the reason why we're sharing today's time with each other, which is the launch of the book. So we will send out additional information to people, and those people who have registered ahead of time will have this QR code which enable you to purchase the book on Amazon, and as well as we'll share this on the YouTube, which we will upload a little later. So now we're gonna go back to regular viewing and stop sharing the screen. This is exciting. Melanie, how are you feeling?
Oh my goodness, nervous, excited. In a lot of ways, it feels a bit surreal, like I can't believe it's actually done and it's actually a book.
This is really exciting. I love this. And now, Melanie, tell us a little bit about yourself, your personal history. What's your relationship with writing? What have you been doing up until this point in your life?
Well, I wrote off and on. I wrote some romance years ago, and I wrote my master's thesis. I did a travel blog for a while. So I've written different things. But when I was teaching, I really didn't have the time or the energy at the end of a day of teaching to really devote to writing. And so I didn't get to do a lot of serious writing. So it's been nice that I've been able to write since I stopped teaching.
Wow, that's really, I'm sure this is very inspiring for a lot of people, because I think we all have those angst and those passion, but life doesn't always allow us to do it. So kudos to you, congratulations. And we know a little bit about what has, we know what has inspired you for the story. Some, we've seen some of the visuals, we've met some of the people who have inspired the characters, but why were you so interested in the Revolutionary War?
I think the Revolution is our most interesting period in American history. It was a time of upheaval, it was a time of uncertainty and turmoil, and yet it's a really wonderful time in the sense that something really great that has lasted us even until today came out of all that turmoil. You know, it was one of those the good guys beat all the odds stories that we writers, I mean, we couldn't make this stuff up if we wanted to.
That is so awesome. I love this. And you mentioned earlier, when you were teaching, which was a very long career, you really couldn't do much writing. So what's it like to be a writer now? What does it, you know, what do your days look like? When do you write? And do you do any researches?
Well, you know, when I was teaching, I lived by the bell schedule. You know, I had to be up early and I had my routine before I went to school. Once I got to school, we went by the bell through the day, and then I always knew what was going on after school. Mm-hmm. So I was very scheduled and regimented. And teachers are naughty. And if we're on spring or summer break, we kind of go crazy. So after I quit teaching, it was kind of like, woohoo, we're on summer break. And it's been kind of hard to rein myself in. And I'm naturally a night owl. So most of this book was really written from the time Jim would go to bed at night until say 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And from what I understand, that's not unusual with writers. So it's been quite interesting that way.
I love that. This is so much fun. Personally, I love it when I get to know the behind the scenes stuff with artists, with the creatives. It just makes everything more real to me, more personable. So now, what about the research aspect? Did you do anything special?
Well, I had already walked the Boston Freedom Trail years ago, and I had already been to Colonial Williamsburg once years ago. And I've read several books like 1776, the biography of Hamilton written by Chernov. But when I started this book, I read several more books. Patriot Privateers was really important. And I also took a trip to Colonial Williamsburg again. And I stayed there for a few days, and I just lived in the Revolution during the day and wrote in my hotel room during the night. And I was nervous about doing it. And I remember you being the one to tell me, just do it. You're going to regret it if you don't. And it really helped. It really helped. But another aspect of the research, though, was with all the nautical things that go on in the book. I mean, I grew up on sailboats with mom and dad, but modern sailboats are very, very different than tall ships. So I was on the phone with Dad a lot. Dad, can I do this? Or is that feasible or not? Or what do you call this on a ship? I don't remember. So I probably drove Dad crazy, calling him 50 million times a day. And then Chip Reynolds, Captain Reynolds, the real Reynolds, you'll recognize him in the story too. He suffered through all my rough drafts along with Dad, and we had several phone calls where he really helped me with some really naughty nautical things too.
How wonderful. I love it. I love this. This is so awesome. And now, you know, this whole thing is so exciting. And the title of the book is called The American Privateer. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Well, a lot of people get confused between privateers and pirates. So the real difference between a privateer and a pirate is that a privateer is a licensed pirate. And privateering has gone on for a long time. And it's basically the government says, oh, we're not getting along with those other guys. So, well, why don't you go and harass them? And we give you license to do it. We won't prosecute you if you harass our enemies. So it's licensed privateering. So the danger, of course, the danger, of course, is that the enemy didn't give you a license, and they're usually not amused. In this case, the British were really not amused because our privateers didn't go after the warships. They couldn't go against a ship of a line with a little schooner, and they couldn't even go against a frigate really with a schooner, but they could attack supply ships. So they really disrupted the British economy going after the supply ships. The British didn't like that very much.
Wow. Well, you know, if you noticed in the chat, Amy has shared about Melanie's social media. So take a look, because she has become quite an expert, and her social media between TikTok and her Instagram have a lot on a regular basis, push out amazing visuals for the tall ships, as well as some very, very interesting videos that's being very, very informational. And I love that. And how long did it take you to write this book, Melanie?
I started on it in January of 2021. So it's been almost a year and a half.
Wow. Let's talk about that whole process. So how long did it take you to settle down on the topic and start writing?
It probably took a month of me sifting through different information about the revolution, because I knew that was the time period I wanted. but I didn't want to write about Paul Revere's Ride, Lexington and Concord, or all these things that have been mythologized. I wanted to write about something that people don't know as much about. So that's why I chose the privateers in the end.
I have to ask, do you have privateers in your family, in the ancestry?
Well, so far, we haven't found any privateers exactly, but the first ancestor on the Barton side to come over from England would have first gone to Barbados and was a sea captain there for a time before he settled in New York. His name, if I'm recalling correctly, is was Edward Barton. So he's the closest one, although I've always said Dad must have had a pirate or somebody in the British Navy in his ancestry. We've never found that.
You were really hoping to, weren't you?
Mhm. We always figured Dad had a pirate in there somewhere.
Well, I when I was reading through the chapters of the books, I had a feeling, in addition to reminiscing of your parents, you also have a little bit of yourself in Rose, in the way you describe the way she was climbing in and out of windows, her ability to climb, right? And so if you are curious about why Melanie is dressed like this today, Melanie, tell us, what are you wearing and why are you wearing it?
Well, I'm wearing a gown that is a replica of the 1700s. And when I do my social media, I dress in one of these gowns. I've got 3 now. And I talk about some interesting aspect of the Revolutionary War, or I'll read just a little tiny teaser from the book.
Wow, that's fun. So why don't we take a look at one of your videos, which then we also get to see more of the gown, even though it's not the same one you're wearing, but let's take a look.
This is a teaser to make you go to TikTok and actually follow her so you can hear the sound.
Quick question, are we able to hear the sound?
No.
Okay, let's try one more time, because we should be able to hear the sound. So we'll try one more time and see if we can hear the sound this time around. Hold on a second. So let me do this one more time, because this is really quite interesting, and I think everybody will really enjoy it. So let's do a take 2. I'm going to disable the screen share and then restart. Too many things open. Hold on a second.
So I scanned that QR code in the beginning and look how fast Amazon Prime is. Like, it just arrived.
Woohoo! How exciting is
It's
that?
here! But I need it autographed.
Yes,
Autographed.
and we are going to have that fun opportunity a little later. So let's see if I can get the video going one more time, and because it's really quite wonderful. And see if we can do that now. I think we're gonna have a little bit of trouble. So let's do that a little later. And but we don't want to necessarily wait on getting to know more about the book. So Melanie, are you able to read something from the book while I'm working on this?
Sure. So the whole book revolves around Daniel's quest to make enough money to be able to marry Rose Post, because she comes from one of the wealthiest families in New York. And I got that actually from family history, because mom's side of the family was Dutch. They would have arrived long before the revolution, and they would have owned a third of Staten Island at the time. So I got that from family history as well. But Daniel is not just interested in making money to marry Rose. He's a believer in the cause. So I don't want to give the whole plot away, but I will tease.
Super. Do you want to go ahead and do a reading from your book?
Okay. So the scene that I'm going to read is the Battle of Lake Champlain. And this is an important battle in the Revolution. And it's important because the waterway goes from the St. Lawrence River to the Richelieu River down to Lake Champlain, Lake George, where there's really only a small amount of land until you reach the Hudson. There was a British Army in Canada and in New York City. And there were plans for the British to march from both places, meet in the middle, and cut off the colonies. They were going to cut the colonies in the middle. And all of the colonial generals knew that if they did that, they were doomed. They were going to lose the war. There was just no way. So there was actually a battle. They call it the Battle of Valcour Island on Lake Champlain on October 11th, 1776. And so this is about that battle. Daniel tied back his deep brown hair with a leather strap as he gazed out at the other ships from the deck of the Revenge the next morning. Most of the fleet needed practice sailing and gunning, but he doubted they could stay hidden near Valcour Island much longer. Benedict Arnold insisted they stay hidden and let the British fleet come to them. Wait until they sailed down the lake, and then Arnold and the fleet would lure them into the channel. Daniel figured it made for a fairer fight. At least it allowed them some chance against the British guns. He did not understand how British scouts hadn't found them by now. He sure as hell would have sent a small boat to look around the islands. Perhaps the British were arrogant enough to think they could easily defeat any ship sent against them. Still, Daniel would have wanted to know exactly where the enemy was and what they were doing. Arnold knew full well the British were sailing at the top of the lake with bigger, well-armed ships. The crew wanted Arnold to let loose the dogs of war. That didn't stop most from saying their prayers. Daniel understood Arnold's intentions. Wait for the wind. Wait until they could surprise the British. It might indeed be the only way they would survive. He grimaced as he felt the wind on his back. Today might just be the day they engaged the British. Arnold wanted the right wind. He wanted the wind to be with them, not the British. They'd lure the British into the small bay between the island and the shore, instead of out on the open water. The only problem with that was if the British sailed by the little bay where they hid, their positions would be reversed and their advantage lost. Today, the wind was with them, and it was howling. Daniel hadn't realized that a lake could roil, but Champlain's dark depths spit with fury, whitecaps spewing on the surface. The lake looked ready for battle, and the pine trees that graced the shore bent over as if in supplication. The orange, red, and yellow autumn leaves blew from the elm, birch, and maple trees in a flurry. He just prayed that he, Arnold, and the fleet were ready too. Daniel watched a burst of activity aboard the Royal Savage, Arnold's flagship, as a smaller guard boat sailed fast from the southern point of the island. The scout waved frantically in the rocking boat and called up to the decks of the Royal Savage. The British fleet was coming.
That's great. So I just gotta say, I
Awesome.
read your book in 4 days. I like allotted myself 50 to 60 pages a day and powered through it. And it was gripping. Like the way that Melanie writes these battle scenes, I'm like, okay, bunch of cannons going at each other. How exciting can that really be? But the way she wrote it, like I was on the edge of my seat.
Me too. I
It
was like,
was
wow.
So good. So please do yourself a favor and learn something about the American Revolution. Learn about these licensed pirates. And write a
Legalized
review.
piracy. Right.
So
So
good.
we're gonna, right. Oh, that's so something that I think we really should. It's amazing. And now I want to ask you, how can we support you, Melanie? How can we support you?
Well, follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So follow me and comment on my posts. And when you buy the book, write a review on Amazon or on Goodreads. That's really helpful too.
And remember, this is the QR code that you're able to scan this on your phone, and it will take you directly to the page and order the book. And additional links will be sending follow-up emails as well as on social media and YouTube when we upload this video. Now, do we want to see the video or do we want to move forward? What would you like to have?
I want to see the video.
You want to see the video? So let's watch the video. The
Okay.
video is really quite fun. So let's take a look. Here we go. And let me make sure I'm sharing the sound and everything else.
So we talked about women during the
Okay.
revolution, and we talked about some of the professions and some of the activities women engaged in at the time. We didn't talk about the active roles some women took, however. Some women actually acted as spies. The men didn't think women had the capacity to be spies. Apparently they didn't think women were interested in the war or weren't intellectually capable. Well, that worked to women's advantage, and the men ended up finding out that women were quite capable of spying. There were also women who stepped up to engage in battle when their husbands fell. One legend is of a woman named Molly Pitcher. Well, there was no actual woman named Molly Pitcher. What we think is very possible today is that the real Molly Pitcher was a woman named Mary Hayes, who was tasked with bringing water from a nearby stream to the soldiers so that they would have water to drink, so that they would have water to quench the cannons between firings. Anyway, when her husband fell in battle, she stepped up and took his place. It's not unreasonable, it's not unthinkable that women could do that, because if they were camp followers, they had watched the men drill. Probably hundreds of times. They had watched their husbands in battle. They knew their husbands' positions in a cannon crew, or what they did to load a gun. So they stepped in and did the job themselves. Cheers to the strength of women. Read American Privateer. You'll find an earlier version on Kindle Vella, and June 9th will release in paperback and ebook through Quill Hawk Publishing. So stay tuned, and hopefully we'll have some more wine for you soon.
All righty. This was so much fun. I love watching those videos, and congratulations on today is the day the book drops. So now tell us a little bit about, how did this become a book? How did this go from writing in your own house at 2 o'clock in the morning to it becoming an actual book and available to the general public?
So Amy can speak more clearly about all of this, but we have a lot of options to publish today that really authors didn't have even a few years ago. So, you know, there are the big publishing houses in New York, there's Amazon where you can self-publish. If you learn all the aspects of doing that, like how to make a cover, how to format, things like that. Or you can go with a house, a smaller publishing house like Amy and Quill Hawk, where they help new authors get published. And it's a lot of times, I think these smaller houses are author run. And that's really kind of nice because they understand what authors need and you still keep your rights. So it was an adventure in learning how to format. And it was an adventure for my cover artist, Linda Saletti, to get the ships exactly right in the cover. But we did it. We got it done and we put it together. I have to give a shout out to my friend Jordan Barnes in Hawaii, who's the author of One Hit Away, because he made it really fancy. He made it look pretty in this magical program he has called Vellum, before we got it all uploaded. So in a lot of ways, it was a team effort.
That's
Amy's helped me a
amazing. I
lot.
think
Jordan
things-
helped
wow.
me. Yeah.
This is amazing. I would love to hear a little bit from Amy as well, because you know so much about the world of independent publishing. Can we talk a little bit from your perspective, how it made it possible for authors like Melanie?
Wow. First of all, writing is hard. It is hella hard.
Yes.
And once you go, that's why they say authors are always cold, right? We're always living in drafts. You're doing revisions all the time. You got to get the right editor on your side. That makes a huge difference. So as an indie author, if you're going to spend money on anything, spend it on a really professional editor. But once you've got that draft done and it's polished and it's ready to go, then the real hard part is getting that formatted, getting the book cover done, getting it uploaded, getting your proof copies to make sure it looks right, the gutters, the margins, the font, everything, right? The binding. And now we go to this book launch party and really, Melanie, this is when you really have to hike up your skirt because you've got to promote it, baby. You've got to market it, because a really good book not only entertains, but it educates, but it can't be read, right, unless you market it. So it's a huge process. And to get to this stage already, like I'm emotional just thinking about it, because I know what it's like to publish a book, baby. And I hope, Melanie, that you raise this baby and to the point where it can take care of you in your senior years, and you've got a lot of money coming in to help you towards that retirement.
Now we need your help to help Melanie to do this. Earlier, Amy had mentioned about her social media, so follow her. So Melanie, tell us about your social media, the handles, how we can find you, please.
Okay, on TikTok and Instagram, I am Melanie Barton-Gauss, author.
Wonderful.
It's
And
all one word.
Are there other places where we can find you?
At Facebook, I'm Melanie Gauss, and Barton is in parentheses.
Super.
And for those of you who purchase from Amazon, in case you didn't know, you can follow an author. Because Melanie, I have a feeling this is not going to be your last book. Are you planning on writing more?
Yes.
Tell us.
So yeah,
Okay.
so you know, so when we follow an author on Amazon, it will continue to recommend other books, which means you need to go to Amazon and buy her book first. Then you need to follow her for more books to come, and you need to share with your friends on your social media, on your snail mail, on your email. Start a book club if you don't belong to one, and share this book with everybody. And Amy, did you talk about how they can also share this book and request it from their public libraries?
Yeah, so one other thing I want to say too is that it's free on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, read it. And authors get paid by the pages read with Kindle. So I do support that. Other than writing reviews and book clubs and that kind of thing, really go to your local libraries, ask them. They have a budget every year and they want to spend money on books. So ask them to shelf it. Melanie's books got their ISBN numbers, which is like a fingerprint of a book, and they can look up that ISBN number and they can buy it. Same thing with bookstores, any independent bookstore, any online retailer, they can actually get the book as well. So, but yeah, reviews are the bread and butter of an author, especially an indie author. And that's how we get our books discovered and our stories shared. So please, if you do get a copy, write a review. And be kind.
Yes, we need your help. That's right. This is a fun thing because it's interactive. And those of you who are with us today, you're on the ground level with us. We're going to do this together. And to reward you and get you going, we're going to create some interaction. Now, Melanie has created a giveaway. Melanie, tell us about your giveaways today.
Well, we'll be giving away 2 $10 gift cards for Amazon and 2 autographed copies of American Privateer. So we're going to do some Revolutionary War trivia.
And we have some rules.
Okay, so first of all, no searches. You can't Google.
No Googling.
You can't look it up. No, can't do that. So when you figure out the answer to the question, type it in as quick as you can in the chat. And
so this is a competition of the quick fingers.
Yes. So the first person who types in the correct answer, Amy is going to write that person's name down and she's going to put that name in a hat. And at the end, she's going to draw the names out of that hat for the 4 prizes. So the more you get right, the more chances you have to win. Now, okay, the real Daniel and the real Reynolds are not allowed to do the 2 ship, I think it was 3 ship questions, because they know the answers.
Oh. So
Okay.
let's get started. And we have some questions, and hopefully you got some answers, because we don't want to lose out on those prizes. And if any of you have notifications coming on your devices, if you could disable it so we don't have the dinging sound, that'd be really great. And the first question, are we ready? Show of thumbs, so I know you're ready. Yay, thank you, Jennifer. And okay, are you ready to type? Question number 1. What year was the Boston Tea Party?
Ooh.
Mm.
Who's going to get it first?
Come on, hurry up.
Take a guess.
You could be
Take
right.
a guess.
That is in the future, almost.
17,775. You guys are close. It's in the 1700s. Woo! Josh Evans.
This is exciting. This is exciting. I love it. This is fun. And no, we actually have the correct answer in the chat already. So we're going to move on to question number 2. Let's go for it.
And the year was?
Yeah.
1773, December of 1773. Yes.
Yes. And now we're going to move on to question number 2. When were the first shots fired in Lexington and Concord? Now, if you know the month, you might end up being the actual winner beyond just the year. Now, if nobody knows the month, we'll give it to the person who knows the year. But if you know the month, go for it. Linda, give it a try. You might even know it without realizing you know it.
Josh, holy cow, 1775.
Anybody knows the month of
April.
Oh my goodness. April, what year? Fastest fingers to have both.
Oh, I almost gave it away. Oh my.
Now, Linda, my birthday's in April, so you're right. Everything happens in April. So
Josh got the year right.
To the month of April. April, what year? If you think you're right, type in April and the year.
And
Woo,
we
okay,
saw
all
it.
right, somebody got it right. So
April of
so Melanie, what's the answer?
1775.
That's
April
correct.
of 1775.
Okay, who's
Yes.
then?
We got F. Muhlenberg.
Yay, Freddie.
Freddie. Okay.
That's my cousin
Alrighty.
Freddie.
So Melanie, why don't you read the next question?
If you'd go ahead and read the questions, and I will stand by ready with the answers.
What is a frigate? Now that is too generic. You have to earn it.
Like getting warmer. It is a ship. What kind of ship?
Yes.
Not
right,
seeing the right
give it a-
answer yet.
How about a
You know what?
clue?
How about we break the rules and let the people know the answers? Let them have a shot too. How about that?
Okay, so it will. Oh, Jennifer. Well, it's not a sloop, Jen.
It's a British something.
A scoop. No, it's not a skip either.
Hey, we're getting
Oh,
close.
Barbara Spiegel.
Can we have a
British
little bit more
warship.
details?
So
Mhm.
Barbara
Any-
Spiegel wins so far. A frigate is a British warship, and it could carry up to 30 guns. It was a smaller, faster warship, but
This is
30
fun.
guns. Yeah, Daniel.
Wow,
Daniel
30.
didn't like frigates. He
Too many guns.
He was, yeah, too many guns, too many guns. He had to run away. Sail as fast as you can, get away from those.
Now you have to read the book to find out exactly their specific reasons why he doesn't like the frigates, besides the fact that they have 30 guns, right? So now the
Mhm.
next question. What is a ship of the line?
Ship of-
Where are the fingers?
Are we eligible to win, Shirley?
Why
Sure,
not?
Why not?
That
Why
would
not?
be cheating, but you know.
So what is a ship of the line? It's also a British ship, you're correct, Barbara.
A little bit more details.
Yes. It's a British warship, but it's a different kind of warship than a frigate.
Maybe the clue is how is it used?
Okay. To
Huh?
transport soldiers.
That's
No, it
clever.
wasn't a transport ship.
The answer is actually in the question.
Oh, Freddie, a larger warship. Yes, it was a larger British warship. And those could have, the frigates generally.
Ooh, somebody got it. Somebody got it.
Yes, James knows. Yes, they could be 3 decks of guns. They could carry over 100 guns. But at least they
so we've
were.
got- Oh, that is sweet. Look at the chat. I'm not eager to win. I
Aw.
already have the prize. That is so sweet.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
That's my
So-
lovey.
Should we give it to Jordan?
Aw. That is so for those of you who will be reviewing later on YouTube and who don't know the author personally, tell us who is James.
Jim is my husband, and he's right
All
across the
right.
hall on his computer.
How fun is that? And now let's move on to the next question. What is a
Wait,
schooner?
Shirley, who won that one?
I think we'll let Jim win, even though he's not eager to win it, but we'll let him win it.
Okay. Sorry, Jan, I'm not putting your name in the hat.
We'll keep it in the family. Oh, yes.
Thank you, Loris.
Now- Yes. And next question is not who is James. The next real question is who is a schooner? What is a schooner? Not who is. All right, fingers.
Linda.
All right.
Oh, yes.
Somebody's got it
A
already.
sailing ship
Woo.
with 2 or more masts. We're headed in the right direction. Ah,
Oh, Linda.
good.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I think, what do we think Linda has given enough for the answer?
I think so.
All right, so Linda wins this one.
A schooner would have at least 2 masts, but the mizzen would actually be taller. And so when you look at a schooner, the mast that's in the front is the main mast, and it's shorter than the mizzen that's in the back in this case. And they're usually gaff rigged, so the sails kind of look triangular.
I have
They're not
no idea
square.
what you just said, like mizzen and gaff, and
Mhm.
that was Chinese.
Yes,
learned-
and now we're
I've
going
learned
to
a
move
lot
on to
from
the
Dad
next question.
and Captain Reynolds.
Now we're going to move on to the next question. Who was one of Washington's most trusted clerks? I'm going to give you an extra clue. That might give the answer away, but we'll have to narrow it down. This person was featured in a musical.
Shirley, you got to sing that musical.
Yeah.
I don't. No, I don't sing unless I'm paid.
Yes, it was Alexander Hamilton.
Ooh, yes. And now what about who killed Hamilton in a duel? That is the next question. All right, somebody got the answer. Excellent. No, it's not Hamilton's
yet.
enemy.
No, Hamilton's enemy.
No, somebody got it.
Jordan.
Somebody got it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Laura's
somebody got it.
Aaron Burr,
Yes,
who was vice
Fred-
president of the time.
yes.
What a scandal.
And now we're ready. Oh, yes, it was. And now we're ready for the next question because we have a winner. Who started the Navy during the Revolutionary War?
Not Jackson.
Try again. You may be closer than you think, but still far.
Not
No.
Jefferson. Not John Adams either. No.
Not Hamilton.
So the question is, who started the Navy during the Revolutionary War? General Washington? No, but Washington did approve starting the Navy.
Any clues?
Any clues?
Monroe? No, not Monroe. Monroe would have been pretty young during the Revolution.
How about initials?
Oh, somebody just said John Paul Jones.
Oh, Jones.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
John
yes.
Paul
We got the
Jones.
answer. Eventually
We
we
have
got
not
there.
yet begun to
Fantastic.
fight.
Fantastic. We're going to have 2 more questions. And this is the second to the last question. Which country was our ally during the Revolutionary War? Yes.
Yes.
We got the answer.
France.
Okay,
Gosh.
final question. Pay lots of attention. No snoozing. Fingers on the keyboards. Ready? Oh, maybe.
Huzzah, I like it.
Which city was our first capital as a new nation under the Constitution?
This one's tricky.
This is tricky. I'm going to repeat the question. Oh, somebody got it.
Mm-hmm. It
Somebody
was
got it.
indeed New York. Mhm.
Got-
Philadelphia was the capital during the Revolution and during the Articles of Confederation for just a few years. But then New York was the capital for the first 5 years under the Constitution.
Fantastic. So now we have the actual contest. Now we have the names in the hat, right? In the whatever
in the palm
container
of my
Amy's
hand.
provided. In the photo of Amy's hand, she holds all of your fate in her hands.
Yes.
And we are going to move on to the next part of this fun game, which is we're going to draw our winners. What is the first prize we're going to give away, Melanie?
$10 gift card to Amazon.
Woohoo. Okay.
Which
Here
is
you go.
enough to purchase almost 3 copies of this wonderful book. So buy it away and send to your friends.
Yeah, unless you have Kindle Unlimited, then it's free. And then you bank. Okay. So, the first winner,
Jordan.
Josh Evans, you get a $10 gift card.
Yay!
Woohoo. Let me write that down.
And are we ready for the next prize? What is the second prize?
The second prize
Melanie.
is an autographed copy of American Privateer,
Hmm.
the paperback.
All right.
Okay, here we go. This is so official.
I know. It's like the lottery.
I know. It is. Barbara Spiegel. Come
Yay!
on down. You're the next winner.
Yes. Can we take a look at the copy you have again, Amy? When you have a moment, could you hold it up so we can see the paperback one more time?
Yeah.
It's physical. Yes, it looks amazing.
It's beautiful.
And this copy for Barbara is going to be autographed. And are we ready for the next prize? Melanie, what's the third prize again?
The third prize is a $10 gift card to Amazon.
All
right, here
righty.
you go.
Amy, you know your official duty.
This is fun. It is.
Oh, you did, Barbara did. She is getting
Okay.
an autographed copy because she's one of my beta readers. So
Uh,
why don't we
wonderful.
give
So-
her,
it's
why don't we
Josh
give her
Evans.
the $10 Amazon card? And
Okay.
this prize will be the autographed copy.
Since Josh already won, we're gonna draw again.
Okay.
Okay.
And this one
Sorry,
will be
Josh.
for an autographed copy.
All righty.
Must be present to win and cannot win twice.
Yes.
Okay.
And now, so this is this is the autographed copy. And let's see who wins it.
Loris.
Yay,
Loris.
Loris!
And now we're going to give away the last prize, which is another copy of the autographed paperback for American Privateer.
Right.
So Amy, be official.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
All right, we've got Maureen. Maureen
Yay!
Regan.
Maureen,
Yay.
Yay!
fantastic. This is wonderful. This is so much fun. This is so much fun, but the fun is not ready to end yet. First of all, we are going to have the Q&A from any of you who have questions. If you could type your question into the chat, and we can go from there. And while you're thinking about what to ask Melanie, I am going to put the QR code in the chat.
Jim
If I
is
could.
asking me what's for dinner. Oh my goodness.
The way out. In fact, officers still remain on the house floor, on the bell floor, to use the.
All right, so we still need people to mute their microphone for the time being.
Is Dan muted? I don't know where that's coming from. Okay, excellent.
All righty,
Bill-
so I have
Bill,
shared the QR code. So I have shared the QR code in the chat. So you're able to, if you could grab it and save it, you can share with others as well as order it yourself. So let's see who has a question, please. What is for dessert? What is for dinner and what is for dessert? And who is Jim and James? Okay, so Jordan has a fun question. Melanie, what does your writing space look like?
well, I wonder, can I turn the camera around? I could show you guys. I have my desk And I have, let's see, can I turn that around? I'm not sure how to turn it around. But I can walk around and show you a little bit. I've got some lights up, so that might be a little bit awkward. But here is my desk. So we've got,
That's quite a writer's desk.
Pretty.
yes, including my little plume and lots of books.
How fun is that? Wow.
And
So Melanie, so that's where you spent 2
piano.
o'clock in the morning at.
yes, yes, many nights, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, worse than
Oh,
that.
fabulous.
Yes. Jim,
And Amy has a wonderful, wonderful question. What proportion of fact is there in your book?
oh, well, I have tried to keep the Battle of Lake Champlain as factual as possible. And I really used a book called Benedict Arnold's Navy for that. Other than that, a lot of it's very fictionalized, but I really tried to make sure that I didn't do anything nautically that wasn't plausible. There's one big nautical set of hijinks, and I remember, breaking my brain with Dad and Chip Reynolds, both, trying to figure out how exactly to do it. So that, that I wanted to make sure that I didn't do anything that wasn't plausible. I also based a lot of the posts on history that we know. We know that they were there long before the revolution, and that they would have owned a third of Staten Island. We don't know for certain whether they were Tories or whether they were Continentals, rebels. We're guessing that because they were wealthy and they were Dutch, that they could have been Tories. Now the real Rose says that at least some of the posts took the rebel side. So we know 3 of the Bartons were part of the Continental Army. And one marched with, and I'm blanking on the name, Sullivan. He marched with Sullivan, and another was a doctor in Westchester. And we know a third was in the Army, but we don't know exactly which regiment or what exactly he did. So then,
wow, we have some really wonderful questions in the chats. Melanie, is there something else you want to share regarding what portion was fictional, which portion was factual of your book?
So those parts were factual, but the rest is fictionalized. I just made sure it was plausible within the time period. But
how fun. And go ahead.
I saw that the real Daniel wants to know the title of the next book. I don't know that answer yet. I know that the next book will focus on the doctor from Westchester, following the battles in New York and treating the wounded.
Which kind of answered the question for Jordan, which is asking about the sequel or the prequel. Sounds like we do have the next book that's already in the works. And we have additional questions. Right. And Barbara has an interesting question for you. Do you have any first edition books in your collection other than your own book?
Oh, no, I wish I did. I wish I did.
Well, it's never too late to start. And now
This
we
is
know what you
true.
may be getting for your Christmas present, right? Yes.
I would love
And
that. Oh, goodness.
Yes. Yes.
My first
And
choice
if
would be
you
a
were
first
to-
edition Tolkien novel.
Okay, you all heard that. You all heard that. So now Loris has a very nice note that's in the chat. Congratulations, Melanie, on your achievement. You should be very proud. And her father's favorite book of the Revolution was A Peculiar Service, which is out of print, but it's all about Washington's spy ring and how it evolved and
Cool.
impacted the American Revolution. Now, the big question is, have you thought about taking on the spy rings of the era as your next project, or the one after the next project you're already thinking about?
Well, the doctor in Westchester may just meet up with a widow. And I've been considering dealing with the spies. That would be so much fun. I'm going to need to do a whole lot of research before I decide for sure. And
Now,
Jordan,
if any of you watching knows anything about that, don't be shy to reach out to Melanie via her social media. And keep it
Yes.
interact, send her messages. And even if you don't know her personally, but if you're watching this, send her information you know about the spy ring, because you might just get a little mention in somewhere in the book as somebody who has contributed for this. So go ahead. You were going to say something about the spy ring.
I think it's really interesting, and I've watched Turn Washington Spies. When I was in Colonial Williamsburg, they actually used Williamsburg as Philadelphia in that show. So I loved that show. So we'll see. We'll see.
Fantastic. Now, this is the question I think a lot of us want to know, and some of the family members are here. How does your family feel about the characters which are specifically inspired by them?
I think Mom and Dad are enjoying this. I'm probably giving my poor sister heart attacks. But Mom and Dad seem to take it in stride. And Captain Reynolds didn't really get a choice. And neither did Lawrence. They just organically came to me as characters. My dad's best friend growing up was Larry McNeil. And so naturally, when I wrote the book, Lawrence had to be Daniel's best friend. And Reynolds didn't come about on purpose. He organically just kind of happened. He was just going to be this little side character. He was the captain of a ship that they raided. And his character just kind of took on a life of his own, and he ended up being an important character in the book. I don't even know how to explain how that happened, but it ended up working pretty well.
Fabulous.
Amy liked Reynolds. He just kind of happened.
This is so awesome. This is really wonderful. And we have some additional questions. Who are your favorite authors?
Well, J.R.R. Tolkien is my favorite author of all time. Jim did not know what to do with me when we went to London. We took a side trip to Oxford. And one of the things I had to do was find the pub where Tolkien and C.S. Lewis would discuss their literary ideas over a pint. And so we got our pints and we sat down in this pub, and I swear I was petting the table going, but Jim, they might have been here. They probably drank at this table. Oh my God. He's like, oh God. You're geeking out here. I'm like, I can't help it. But I adore Shakespeare. But I also like Bernard Cornwell. And I found his books really inspiring. So those are some of my, Jim is saying I was worse than that. I couldn't have been that bad. My sister's giving me looks.
Well, This sounds like a lot of fun. Do we have any more questions? Put it in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to stop the recording and open up so the family members and the friends who joined us can have an open chat with Melanie. And so one last chance for the Q&A, and then we're going to stop the recording and let everybody have a chance to socialize a little bit.
Sounds
All right.
great.
Twice.
Any questions?
All right.
All righty. So now we're going to stop the recording.